Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for paying attention to what I will say. I hope so. A little bit about the passage first. We are a charity based in Victoria, Westminster. We support homeless people. We have a day centre and 2 hostels, various services. We are seeing around 220 people every day by now. Our limit is 120. So we are getting well over our possibilities. From next Monday, we'll have to put a limit on how many people can get in the day centre because it's not safe anymore. We are seeing lots of problems with spice. There is a massive peak of spice, so that's a synthetic weed that puts our clients completely out of their minds for half an hour, and it's really hard to deal with it. Enough of spice, that's not what I'm talking about. You should have some training about spice before doing your winter shelters as well. You'll probably see some cases, and that is a really interesting training to get, which is not me that will deliver it. So to start with, I'm not going to tell you what is modern slavery. I kind of assume you know what is modern slavery. So it's about when you buy and sell human beings. It's a traffic that generates as much profit as it does trafficking in drugs and trafficking in weapons. Generates around 150 billion every year. It's booming, it's increasing. It includes various types of exploitation, and you have them all in these handbooks. On one side, you have the types of exploitation. On the other side, the indicators to look for. So I won't talk about that because time is very short. I just want the links between homelessness and modern slavery are very clear. We just published a report. In June, I published a report for the passage. And in 1 year, we identified 25 potential victims of modern slavery in the day centre and outreach services as well. Most of the victims that I saw personally, they don't want government support. So you will end up helping and supporting people you think are victims of modern slavery or exploitation, but you will have only to provide homeless services. So lots of love and compassion, really. Out of these 25 people, we saw almost all the types of exploitation. We saw sexual exploitation, labor exploitation, forced criminality, forced marriage, organ harvesting. There was one person who came to us and said, I don't want your support anymore. I've just been offered to go to Germany to sell a kidney for £10,000. We called 999 immediately, which is the best advice I can give you, is to call 999. But unfortunately, the person went missing, and eventually he called me to say he's not in the country anymore. So this is happening right here, right now, in front of our eyes. We have to put ourselves a little bit in the skin, in the boots, in the skin of a rough sleeper. Imagine you at night, you're cold, you're starving, you could really well do with a glass of red wine, and you're alone. And someone passes in a white van, typically Irish traveller or Romanian travellers, traveller community. They will offer you food, they will offer you potentially drugs and alcohol, and they'll say, come with me, come and work 2 weeks with us in the farm in Hatfield or St. Albans. We're going to pay you £80 every day, cash in hand, and you're sorted, mate. We will take care of you. Who wouldn't take that option? So this is what we are seeing, it's happening. We are seeing why are homeless people particularly vulnerable to modern slavery and to exploitation, because they are in lack of love, because they don't have an environment, a family, a social environment, a family environment. No one will notice if they go missing. So open your eyes all around you. What we are seeing at the passage as well, now NRM in here, I do apologize for the acronym blip. NRM is the National Referral Mechanism, is the government support system. It's a national referral mechanism. So we've been supporting people before they go to safe house. We've been supporting people when they are in a safe house, when they are receiving government support. There was one case due to their acute mental health problems. The person was evicted from the safe house twice and became homeless again, and came back to us again. We also supported people who came out of the safe houses, who finished government support, and they became homeless. There is a high proportion of victims of modern slavery who become homeless after government support and after leaving a safe house. And most worrying, and this is particularly interesting for you, is that we are seeing recruiters in day centers, in night shelters, in soup runs. They come inside, they recruit people, they speak their own languages which we don't understand. You can see them very, very easily because they dress too smart and they have smartphones. One of the persons just came to our day center when I was supporting a Romanian victim, and the guy was from Romania and looking really smart. Of course we got it on CCTV, and he said he was from Europol, looking for the person I was supporting. So of course he was not from Europol. So don't believe when people come to you saying, I'm from the police without identification, I'm looking for this kind of person. Don't talk to them. Beware of traffickers. It can be organized crime as well. So you have any suspicion, tell your line manager, don't engage with potential traffickers. Okay. What exploitation, modern slavery leaves serious scars in people, as you can imagine. We always think about physical abuse, which is always very present indeed, sexual abuse as well. But the psychological abuse is a pattern that we see very, very often. This is all about psychological manipulation. They will offer you what you want. You know, recruiters and traffickers, the dream is their bait. They will offer you exactly what you need at that moment. And once you are under their power, it's kind of a grooming process. They start offering you love and attention and warmth, a roof even, and then slowly they will start exploiting you and treating you like an animal, and eventually you just lose your identity and you lose the power to run away or to escape. So after that, what we are seeing is that, and I saw it again personally, suicidal ideation, suicidal attempts. That is a clear pattern. We had a person who tried to commit suicide every 2 days in almost various ways. For instance, taking lots of pills, or stabbing himself, or trying to jump out of a window, or trying to jump from a bridge. We see lots of panic attacks. They get really nervous, the air is starting to stop, and they get really paranoid and psychotic. So paranoid is that they are really afraid that gangs are following them all the time. They are still followed by everybody. They may think that CCTVs are connected to their traffickers, which someone told me that. So they self-control themselves because they think everything is connected to the traffickers. The trafficker might tell you that I know the police and all the CCTVs are connected to the police, which it isn't. And if you do something wrong, or if you talk to someone other than us, we will know and we will come for you. And this still really gets in their mind. And psychosis is when they hear voices, they smell still the smells of the places where they were exploited. So these are kind of clear indicators that something that's very traumatic happened. The syndrome of Stockholm as well, we are seeing it quite often. This is when the victim still protects and kind of understands the trafficker. So it's like the pimp relationship with a sex worker, completely. They love it. They think it was a love affair. At the end of the day, for many of these people who are victims of modern slavery, actually the only love or fake love that they ever received was by the traffickers. So that's why they will defend them. They won't tell them their names. So you have to take this into perspective. Physical health. I put the red ones there, that's because what we see most often, dental problems. So we had a victim who was enslaved for 31 years and he rarely washed his teeth. So you can imagine the state of his mouth. And this can be a clear indicator. Why didn't you go to the doctor? Why for so long you didn't go to a doctor? What is wrong? Malnourishment. Many of them, they get to us escaping after leaving the traffickers or escaping that exploitative situation where they were not fed properly. But they might as well sleep rough for some nights until finding the day center. So and because they are not street savvy, they haven't eaten quite often for 2 or 3 days as well. So it's really important to feed them and to shower them, change their clothes, and just make them relax as long as possible, and they will start making sense when they talk to you in their stories. Early prevention. Now, what we can really do, practical stuff. When someone comes to you and say, don't worry about me the next 2 weeks because someone just offered me a job, so I will be in a warm place for the next 2 weeks. Well, do worry. Ask them, where are they going to work? What is the contact of the employer? Ask them if you can contact the employer, just to make sure that they will be all right. And you'll see directly the kind of answer they will give you. If they are just like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to work. Oh, no, I don't even know the name of my boss. So that is worrying completely. And all you can do, and what we've been doing at the passage, is just scare them to death, actually. Just say, don't engage in that work. They might take you, they might kidnap you, they might beat you up, they will take your ID, they will take your phone. One of our clients was telling me, no, that's just film, don't worry, I will go, and once I arrive there, I will call you to tell you that I am safe. Now, what about if they take your phone? You don't even know where you're going, so you don't even know how to come back. What are you going to do? So we did manage in 1 year 4 early prevention actions that we did. 2 we did manage to convince not to engage in the work. 2 other ones went to that work. And 2 weeks after, fortunately, they came back saying, oh no, you were right, they never paid this. So that is how it goes. In the conversation with your clients, that's how we call our service users clients. Try to know as much as you can, do a little bit of investigation there, try to know as much as you can about the recruiter. Where is he supposed to go to work? What kind of work? How was he recruited as well? That's really important, so you can share this information with the police. Yeah. Now, key questions. Of course, you don't go to a person and say, have you been exploited? Have you been trafficked? No, that doesn't work like that. So it's really important to go around with little questions and try to understand the environment and the situation, the story of the person, which is basically our work as social workers. So, you know, what kind of, have you ever worked in the UK? What kind of work did you do? Where did you work? For how long? Were you paid? You know, how much were you paid? You'll see how often they will tell you, I was paid £2.50 per hour and then I got tired of the work. That's exploitation. Ask them if, a very key question, have they been offered drugs and alcohol for that job? Because obviously that doesn't happen in working reality, isn't it? Ask how was the person treated as well, you know, how they were recruited, where and when. That is really important for police investigation, for criminal investigation. Now, if they tell you, yeah, I've been working in a farm, I worked in a farm, it was really not a good experience, they never paid me. Well, try to say that is not necessarily modern slavery. Try to see where were they sleeping. You know, were you sleeping on the floor? Could you close the door of your bedroom? Did you have a bedroom? They often sleep 10 people in one bedroom or in caravans. Ask, you know, without saying, were you living in a substandard accommodation? Of course not. Try to ask them to describe the place where they were sleeping, and you'll see the conditions there. And were you paid and how much? I said that. And why don't you have your ID? Why don't you have your phone? And of course, you know, the ID question can be tricky. So most of our clients tell us to start with, oh, I lost it. I just lost it. And I often say, you know, it's just, you know what, I'm really like you. The other day I went to a park, you know, had a kind of beer, left my wallet there and just went away and forgot it. You know, that happens to everybody. Was it what happened to you? The way that you're putting yourself at the level of the person you are serving. Exactly, you know, even if you're creating examples, but put yourself in the same situation as them and you'll see how they will open a little bit more to you. I think it's really important. You know, people won't tell you in one go, like in 5 minutes, you won't see a potential victim of modern slavery like that. You'll have to build trust with your service users and talk about it and try to understand, because psychological manipulation is something that takes really long time and grooming. So it's really important to give them the calmness they need and food and showers and talk about lots of other things, because the little time they are with you, you can start to reinsert them into society again, in normal social reality. And that is very hard for them as well to do. You will see exactly, there is lots of barriers to disclosure, why they are not going to tell you the story in 5 minutes. Because, well, quite often they think it was still better, it's still better having that job than not having anything. It's still, the salary, the little money that they are gaining in here is still better than in their countries of origin. They might be worried about their immigration status, so that is really important to say that is not your problem, and whatever their immigration status, you're here to help them. They also can be afraid, and this is because of paranoia quite often, but they may be keep on controlled by the gangs. So they are afraid of repercussions, of course. Their family may have been threatened as well. They'll try to know the situation of their families back home. And lots of them self-blame. Lots of them, if you identify a victim, they will tell you, how could I? Lots of them won't even self-identify as a victim. They will be like, oh, really? When eventually say, I think you are a victim of modern slavery. And they don't, no, not really. And then they self-blame, and how could I believe that? How could I believe such a stupid lie? So, and again, we are here to give them lots of compassion and to love, because at the end of the day, this can happen to all of us. We can all fall for this, all of us. The worst barrier to disclosure is the belief they are controlled by witchcraft. We had one case that the lady was really controlled. She was really believed that she was controlled by witchcraft. It's like voodoo, so juju is what we call it in Western Africa. And it's kind of a voodoo, it's a blood contract that they sign with the victim, the traffickers and the victim. So the victim believes that if they talk to the police or if they don't work well enough, something automatically will happen to them. For instance, a victim for sexual exploitation, a sex worker who sees 17 clients per night, of course, this is another indicator. You know that 17 clients is well far too many for one night. And of course, the person has internal bleeding. The person will be told, may be told by the trafficker, well, that's what happened because you're not working enough. So this is a way of controlling people, and this is exactly what we are dealing with. And this is the hardest one to break, because faith is a very powerful feeling and emotion, and it's very hard to break faith. Let's say you identify a victim, call 999. Not necessarily. If it's not an emergency, you can't call 999. So first, spot the signs, see well the indicators in the handbooks, try to inform yourself about what indicators you can see and check. And then if you believe that there is a potential victim, you tell your line manager, and what you should do is first a safeguarding referral to the local authorities. And this is a safeguarding referral we can all make. If you can make it even for someone else that you haven't talked to. So for instance, if you have a doubt about a neighbor who is just one of your neighbors, who never goes out of the house, who seems to be really down, it just takes the kids to school, can never go shopping, never goes to church, you never see that person, it's really strange. You can do a safeguarding referral for that person as well. It's so interesting to know. Then sort out emergency accommodation. If you think you are talking to a potential victim of modern slavery, they are at risk of being re-trafficked at any moment. So it's really a priority to take them out of the streets. And then finally, you call a first responder. You have on the back the list of first responders that can do NRM referrals, so referrals to the government support, and the phone numbers that you need to know. So if the adult in front of you is a potential victim of modern slavery, and if he wants government support, this is exactly the route to do it. If the person doesn't want government support, all you can do is provide homeless services, and that's what we do at the Passage. Again, modern slavery helpline. Don't know if that will still work in the next year, but for the moment it is. The phone numbers again are on the back of the handbook. Modern slavery helpline are really helpful. In case of any doubt, even if you're not in a soup run or in a winter shelter, just call the modern slavery helpline for advice and for support, and they will help you. And 999 or 101 is the safest numbers. There is a whole of a collection of numbers on the back there as well, but this is the easiest thing. And again, tell your line manager, don't assume any responsibility on your own. Don't forget that charities like ours, our insurances don't cover volunteers. It's different insurances. So if something happens to you, the charity is liable for that. So put your line manager immediately make them aware of what is happening. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.